Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nidus Anarchy series. I'm your host Adam, CIO and co-founder of Nidus, and today I want to give a full in-depth review of the Unplugged phone, or the Up phone. So a week ago-ish, I got the Up phone in the mail. Very excited because I'm a very privacy-centric person, and they advertise this phone as being a privacy-first phone and making sure big companies and governments and things are not tracking you and tracing you and all that kind of fun stuff. So, very excited about the phone. I am new to Android. I'm an iPhone person. I've tried Android phones many times over the years, but I do not know my way around Android. So, I want to give a very quick disclaimer that when you hear me kind of ranting and raving about things and getting frustrated, it may be Android features. So I'm really looking for you to help me out in the comments and kind of let me know, hey, the reason you're frustrated with that isn't because of the Up phone, it's because that's just how Android works and you just don't like Android. And then you can tell me how much Android is better than iOS. I really don't care. But I think it's very good if people can help me out, just so there's a very clear context about what is an Up phone feature that's driving me nuts, or what is just an Android feature that I don't like. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of go through the phone kind of live, like how as I use it, and we'll kind of talk about it. Overall, what you're going to hear is generally I'm not a big fan. And here's why. Let's just jump into it. So first off, the phone, the size. So if we look at this phone, this thing is huge, right? I mean, so this is the iPhone 14 in comparison, size-wise. And so they both have the case on them. Even this one's kind of big for me, but this thing is massive. I mean, I have giant banana fingers, and I'm 7 feet tall, so I have bigger hands than probably everyone watching this thing. And I find this hard to use, and it sometimes doesn't even fit some of my pockets. So that's kind of frustrating. There is no other option to buy a smaller phone. This is all you have. Also, I should mention, I wasn't paid to do this. I have no affiliation with Upphone in any way, shape, or form. I don't think they'd probably want to pay me because, I'm probably not going to be giving the best review on this thing. So I paid $1,000 for this thing out of my pocket, plus the case, because I want to protect it and have the full experience. Because does anyone ever use a phone without a case? I tried that, and I was like, when I bought my iPhone, I was like, you know what? I'm going to rock this thing without a case. That took all of about 2 weeks. So after that, I'm back to being the pansy with the case on my phone. So the size of the phone, it's huge. Now we'll get into this stuff. So the physical buttons, we have the power switch here. This I'm not a fan of because I like my phone to wake up when I tap it or pick it up. I like to be able to see the time or if there's notifications. That may be an Android thing and I just don't understand what I'm doing. I've tried to find the settings. I'm just an idiot, I guess, when it comes to that. So I have to push the button to see what's going on. That kind of drives me nuts. The other buttons, we have volume up, volume down. On this side, we have the privacy button, and then we have the physical kill switch. Up here is a microphone, and then we have the USB-C and speakers and mic on the bottom. So overall, the buttons are pretty much the same, except for this privacy button and this kill switch. So let's talk a little bit about these. The privacy button, we'll go ahead and go into the phone here. So if you can see that, you can see the lag. That you're going to hear me complaining about a lot on this phone. This is a nice, beefy phone, but it lags constantly to the point where it drives you insane. And I'll show you some stuff that really freaks me out. So anyway, once we're in the phone, this privacy button here, if you hold it down, it brings you directly into the privacy center, which is cool. So this lets you turn on and off the camera, turn on and off Bluetooth, NFC, location access, even the firewall. You can see what the firewall is blocking and not blocking. And then from here, see, this I don't like. Like, how do I get back? I don't know. There's no way. There we go. I did it. Okay. So the button to get directly to the privacy thing, it's like, oh, quick, I need to disable or enable something. That's cool, but I mean, can't I just swipe down from the top and just, tap these buttons here to do the same thing? Do I really need a physical button to push? I think that this physical button could be used maybe a little bit differently, like maybe a push to talk, so like the microphone's completely canceled, the camera's completely canceled unless I'm holding it, then it's activated or something. I don't know, it just seems kind of, I don't understand the purpose of a physical button being needed to do something that I could do quicker just by swiping from the top. So that I'm not a big fan of. The kill switch. Now, this kill switch is awesome in the sense that it does exactly what it does. And what it does is if you flip this little switch in here, which is, let's see if I can see that, with a little tiny thing in there, it just completely separates the battery from the phone and it becomes a completely standalone piece of metal and glass, which is awesome. That is a feature I'm a big fan of. I carry around Faraday cages from time to time, depending on where I am and what I'm doing. So that eliminates the need of having to have a Faraday cage, which is great. The problem is I can't get to it. So yeah, the case, I mean, if you can see like how recessed it is, there's no way to get into it. So even if we take the case off, so let's just get rid of it so we can just talk about the bare phone for now anyway. It's very recessed, right? Like it's not sticking out, so you can't accidentally do it. We don't want to accidentally turn off the phone because they give a very big disclaimer that you shouldn't activate the kill switch unless the phone is already off. So turn the phone off, then activate the kill switch because it could mess up memory or whatever. That makes sense because honestly, you should never just kill a computer because it could be in the middle of writing, it could corrupt the file system, all kinds of things, right? The problem is, like, I kind of want an immediate thing, right? Like if I need to kill my phone, and I'm generally, given the situation, I need to kill it now. Like I can't be like, oh, excuse me, does anyone have a paper clip? I need something very tiny to fit into this little hole to turn my phone off. Wait, can you hold on a second? I need to turn my phone off. Hold on. Let me figure out, there we go. And I'm going to turn my phone off, and now I need the paper clip. Nothing, okay, like I just sit here and try. Yeah, I can't get it. Wait, nope, I can't get it. Okay, so that's kind of frustrating. I understand you don't want to accidentally do that, so I'm not really sure the answer. I'm just saying, for me, that kind of doesn't work out. So now let's talk about the actual phone itself, because we've kind of gone, oh, the last thing I should talk about this, it comes with a screen protector installed on the phone when you get it right out of the box, which is a nice feature because I very rarely, if ever, put screen protectors on my phone. I don't really need one because the glass, I feel, has been good enough to where it just doesn't get scratched and messed up anymore. But this is a physical, like you can see it up, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a physical layer there that goes above the actual bezel of the phone. Not really bad problem. That's not bad, but what is bad is I think it's messing up the capacitive touch of the touch sensor on the top of this phone. I'll show you a video I took where I'm sitting there trying to type and hit the delete button. I'm just banging it and it's not registering anything. So sometimes it works. Most of the times it works. Sometimes it doesn't. The problem is even if it's infrequent, even if it's only like 2% of the time it's not registering right, it's frustrating. It's super frustrating. To show you what I'm talking about too, with the kind of the feedback.
Okay, so one of the first things, there's a weird refresh rate thing. But one of the first things I noticed in the store, when typing, if you even wait for like a second, the keyboard disappears and automatically starts. And like, look, you can even hear me tapping it. Okay, cool. Ping. Nope. Ping. Okay. And okay. This is not. Oh, this is brutal. I'm thinking it's because of the screen protector that's on here. It's like it's super thick. So I think this is, it might be messing up with the capacitive touch. The refresh rate thing is weird. But so yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is rip off the screen protector that comes with it because the keyboard is unusable. Like there's so many times where the keys do not actually touch. So, and it's like, it's for the most part it's fine, but I mean, even if it misses every time, every once in a while, it's super freaking annoying. So this, I don't know if this is an OS issue or something they did for their store, but this whole like disappearing the keyboard right away is ridiculously annoying.
Let's just go right to the App Store. Because the biggest thing that's going to come down to the phone is what apps work on the phone and what apps don't. Because they have their own proprietary store called the App Store. Everything is up, right? So like whatever for Apple, well, up whatever for Up Phone. So you have to subscribe to their Up Suite, which gives you the Up Store, Up Privacy, Up VPN, Up Messenger, Up Mail. Are there more Up things in here? I think so. We have Up Antivirus and Up Sync and Up Support. So you pay a monthly fee for all these things that you have to pay for to use them all, which the phone uses. You get it for free for a year, but then after you have to pay. Not a fan of that because I have a different VPN I would prefer to use. I'm not really sure why I should have to pay for the Up Store and Up Messenger. Maybe it's for their services, but I'd rather just use Telegram or something that I know how to control the security on. I don't know. Either way, I don't like the fact that I have to pay extra once I've already bought the phone. But let's move on past that. So let's just go right into the Up Store, right? So now here's where we get all of our apps. So the first thing I did was, hey, I want to get all the apps from my iPhone and install them on here because I want to use this as my daily phone. Obviously, all the apps aren't going to work. One, because iPhone to iOS to Android, there's going to be different. Some apps just won't port. Also, because they have their own Up Store, they pick what apps go into the Up Store, and it's a lot. Don't get me wrong. Like if you look on my phone, I have a lot of apps installed on here. Not all of them, but I mean a good chunk of them, which is great. And I think that's one of the biggest hurdles they're facing is the fact that they can't just allow every app, because that's the whole point, is they're only allowing apps that meet their privacy standards and probably go through some security testing. I'm not sure the exact criteria as to what allows an app to show up in the Up Store, but the whole idea is there's some type of security check, because there's a note that says like, hey, if there isn't an app in the Up Store that you want, let us know and we'll get it added. Here's the problem with that. So when we go into the Up Store, a perfect example would be something like the first one I noticed was the Amex app. So I'm like, oh great, it's got the Amex app. I download the Amex app, and then I launch it, and it says it won't work on this phone because you have to have the Google Play Store installed. So the app doesn't work. Here, I can show you one example too. So like the Chase app, very similar. So you open up the Chase app, not able to install and update to your provider. So, okay, allow using the app. Okay, so now it might work. I'm not going to sign in. But some of these apps, what you'll notice is they kind of work, and some of them are just straight bricked because it says you need to update the app to a newest version, or because the Play Store is not installed, it won't work. So even though the app is in the App Store, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work on the phone. My guess is because when they went through this manual process of saying, hey, someone said, hey, I want the Amex app, their people went behind the scenes, tested it all out, made sure it worked and whatever, and then it got it into the App Store. Since then, Amex has updated the app and then said, well, this isn't the latest version, we're not going to let it run due to security vulnerabilities or who knows why, but therefore you don't have the latest greatest app, therefore you can't run it. So that's frustrating, right? Because it's like, oh, this app's on there, well, not really. A lot of these other apps, the ones that are on here do work. Now when we get to what apps are and are not in the App Store, I'll show you one thing real fast here. Let's go into the App Store, and we'll search for just anything Google, right? So go Google, there we go. So we'll go to Google. So we have Google Authenticator and nothing else. And I'm not super surprised, but it's definitely one of those reality checks because they make it very clear, and even the documentation, I think even the printouts and stuff, that Google is one of the biggest people that they do not want tracking you. So therefore, there's no Google apps anywhere. But let's just talk about what we actually see and what we're going to play with. And first off, what you'll notice right away is a lot of these app icons aren't even loading. A lot of times the App Store can feel kind of sluggish when it's doing stuff. So like let's go ahead and install the Authenticator just because that's a nice app. All right, so that's downloading. Yay, open. Does it work? Let's see, get started, sign in, use without an account. Nope, not what I wanted to do. Add code. All right, cool. That seems to be working great. All right, we'll minimize that one. Let's go back into the App Store now. So that app works. That's nice. Another thing that drove me nuts is how quickly the keyboard disappeared. So let's say you're typing on something. So I'm looking at this app and I'll be like, oh, I want to download the Norton. Let's see, it was the Norton. Okay, which one is the Norton? And it's already gone. So it doesn't wait for you to hit enter. The keyboard just disappears and shows you what you want. And it's a very short time. It doesn't seem like when you know exactly what you want, you can type it really quick. You're good. It seems fine. But when you're kind of guessing or looking or sidetrack it can get pretty frustrating pretty quickly. So that's kind of annoying. I don't know if that's an Android thing or an App Store thing, but that's frustrating. The Up Messenger, I don't even know. Like this dude just messaged me. I don't even know who this person is. So I guess I'll put him on blast. You message him, see what's up. But I've yet to use. Look at this. This is me trying to get to the top of the phone. That's insane. This phone is just way too big. So I haven't used the Up Messenger. I don't even think I would use it. It's not that great of an app compared to like Telegram or Signal that's out there. You know what? Is Signal even on the store? Let's see. Signal. Signal. Okay, cool. Let's install that one. Install that. Great. Okay. So the Up Messenger don't use Up VPN. The Up VPN, it works really well. I've played with this multiple countries, tested around, and the throughput when connected to the VPN is actually pretty reliable. So without it, I'd be getting like 300 megabit. With VPN connected, I'm getting like 150 megabit. That's pretty good. But it is pay. It is not a free VPN. So I already have VPN software I'm paid for, so I would kind of rather use that one. I also don't know any details about this VPN. Are they outside of the 14, the 9 eyes? Are they keeping logs? I would imagine not, but I kind of want to know that information because for me, when I use VPN, those are the two things I look at pretty much right away. The Up Privacy, that's just the app that it's the same thing as if you just hold the button. So if I hold the button, I go to there, or I can hit this little, tap this thing and go there. This kind of just reaffirms why do I need the button? I don't know. So Up Mail. So Up Mail works just like every other email client. It's not the greatest client, but it works. I am able to connect my Google email to it, so I can use that for it. But there are other clients that do not work well with, or there are other email accounts that I have outside of Gmail that weren't working out too hot for me. I wound up just not using it. It's just not good enough for me, especially for enterprise grade email where you have a bunch of different accounts and swap them back and forth. It's just kind of annoying. The camera is actually really good. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, you can see behind me now. The regular picture, it takes really good photos. I would say very comparable to the iPhone 14. The quality is really good. Once you start looking at like, let's see, there I go. Look how long it takes me to get into my phone. That's annoying. Okay, so these like beauty, high res, like these like fancy things, you'll see some artifacts in the pictures when you zoom in and stuff, so that's kind of like whatever, but overall the camera's really good, so that's obviously an important feature. I should also mention while we're talking about that, the screen is really nice, bright display. I can see it real well in the daylight and direct sun. The screen protector, it's protected, it just also protects me from typing, which is frustrating. And then phone calls and stuff, I can hear phone calls, messages really good. Now, it comes installed with Firefox by default. I immediately put on Brave, which works really well. One thing I don't get is on the bottom, you'll see we have Brave like a search bar. It's like, oh, I can use this to search right in here. Not really. You just tap on it and it opens up the browser. So I'm not sure why that's not just an icon, because it seems like it's taking up a ton of space with no real use or function. Maybe an Android thing. I don't know. I don't even know why that opened. Okay, there we go. Oh, man. I feel like this thing just doesn't respond well. Like you can see it like lagging as I'm going up and down. When I'm trying to scroll, it's just not right. It's like a computer that's just running out of memory. It's just not there. So let's go through some of the apps that are in here. So we have, okay, all the regular stuff that's in here. We already kind of showed you the Chase app and how that doesn't really work. Firmware, a lot of times it says there's a little notification that there's an update. There's not. That gets kind of annoying. But right now, hey, it's not there. Check for updates. I'm up to date. Yay. It's always been that ever since I got it. Let's see. See, right now. See this? And look. That is not acceptable to me. In today's age, that should flow exactly with my finger. There shouldn't be any lag. Especially when there's nothing going on. Let's see, what do I have running on the phone? The firmware, there's really just the stuff you've seen me playing with. That's all that's here. So I'm not sure what the hell's going on. All right, let's go through some more apps that we got here. So settings, Signal, Slack, Snapchat's on here. Interesting. Now this is where it gets crazy. So Google's not allowed because of privacy, but this is TikTok. Everyone knows that these guys are spying like hell on you and delivering all the information directly to China, which is a competitor and for all kinds of reasons not a good deal. So that's allowed. That's where I have the problem, right? Like, I get why you're not allowing Google apps on there. I'm accepting that because I'm saying, hey, I care more about my privacy than functionality and ease of use for certain things. Fine. But then TikTok's on here? What? Like, I don't get how that's on here. The Up Antivirus, I didn't even play with this because I come from the iOS world where there are no viruses. So that's a big reason why I wouldn't even want to use Android. And I would kind of hope if they're limiting the apps in the App Store, that they've already kind of scanned them. So why do I have an antivirus? Maybe they can be installed other ways. Maybe through just links or attachments and stuff. Maybe that's why. Okay, so the last Up app that I want to talk about here is Up Sync. So this is where I'm supposed to be able to sync all of my contacts into this phone from my Apple device. So I go in here, I follow all these instructions. Eventually, whenever the UI wants to show me the thing I'm scrolling to, this doesn't work. Let's just cut the chase. It doesn't work. I've tried about 4 or 5 different times. None of my contacts come over. It doesn't work. I've tried it through my computer, tried it on that phone, I've tried it on another phone. It just doesn't work. So it's frustrating that I can't get my contacts in the phone. The last thing I think I should talk about really is the battery, right? Because that's the other. So I can turn the phone back on. Nope. Yep. Okay. The battery. Yesterday, I charged this thing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to about 80%. It has fast charging. It charges up super fast for that first 80%. And it did. It charged up super fast. Given the cable provided with the phone, it charged really well. Now, at 4 o'clock today, the phone was dead. I don't even know when it died, but this phone at an 80% charge lasted less than 24 hours doing nothing. I literally charged it, threw it in my backpack, and then right before recording this, pulled it out to do this, and the phone was dead. So I just threw some juice on it to get it going again. So that's annoying. And there was nothing background running. I don't have any crazy data synchronization going on. It's not syncing photos and videos into the cloud. It was doing nothing besides just sitting there, and it toasted itself in less than 24 hours. That's pretty bad. A battery, especially a phone this big, and it's hefty. So there's definitely some battery in here. I don't know what magic Apple has or if this is just them, but yeah, this battery doesn't work. Also, if your battery is less than 15%, the camera won't let you use a flash because it says it doesn't have enough battery life to do so. What? It's a little tiny LED. How is 14% battery not enough to use the flash on the camera? That seems pretty ridiculous to me. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I'm not gonna lie. I also gave this phone to my daughter. She's 12. 12-year-old girl lives on her phone. So I gave it to her and I said, "Hey, play with this thing. Let me know what you think." 5 minutes later, I get the phone back. She's like, "I can't do anything with it. I hate this phone. It doesn't work." So that's a 12-year-old 5-second review of the phone. As much as I want to love this phone, I just can't. It's not there. There's just too many things that are just frustrating. It's not even that like Google apps aren't on there. It's like I'm willing to take that loss for my privacy. I'm fine with that. But the lag, the touch screen not working. I mean, I started trying to peel this thing off here. Like there we go. So like I don't think that this thing is helping. I think that we will have a much better time without the case. I think the feedback of the capacitive screen will probably work better. But then the problem is I'm concerned because if they shipped that screen protector on the phone and it wasn't advertised that way out of the box, I'm thinking that this phone probably scratches up pretty good. So that's why they're pre-installing it. I don't know, but I'm no longer going to use that protective case because there's so many times I'm typing and it's not even registering me actually tapping the thing. So one thing I want to say is this is version 1. They've spent a ton of time and money building this phone to get it to where it is right now. And overall, when you take a step back and not get all pissed off and frustrated and want to throw the phone because it's just not doing what you want it to do, and possibly it could be because I just don't understand Android. Overall, though, it's pretty impressive that they built this thing from scratch and that they did everything that they did. And this is a version 1. So like if I were to compare this to a version 1 of an iPhone or version 1 of the first Android phone, this is massively better. And I know obviously they probably didn't make the camera themselves, they sourced all these pieces, but still, this is a huge effort that they put together. And to go against like the iPhone and the Pixel and all those out there, they definitely have a lot of work to cut out themselves to start from. So as a version 1 phone, it's pretty awesome to see. I can't get behind it right now. I'm really hoping there's a version 2 phone that I can buy and check out later that fixes a lot of these problems, and it just maybe a smaller form factor would be great. So I don't want to diss the phone completely outright just because I know how difficult this was, and it is a feat. Like I couldn't do this. I could not make this phone. So I just want to make sure I'm putting kind of in check here of reality of what it is. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter because there's just so many things that are so frustrating that I will absolutely break this phone in less than a month simply because I'm going to chuck it against a brick wall. So in the end, What am I going to rate the Unplugged phone? Meh. I can't get behind it. I just can't. I really, really want to love this phone, and I really, really want to use this phone, but I guarantee you I will absolutely shatter and destroy this thing out of pure frustration from just so many issues on the phone that drive me nuts that I can't use it. So with that, that is my full review on the Unplugged phone. I really hope version 2 is awesome. Version 1, unless everything I've told you that is frustrating to me, you're like, oh, I'm an Android person and all that stuff is not a problem. I'm used to that. My muscle memory, it's not a big problem, and that sounds great. Awesome. You should buy the Unplugged phone. It is a really good privacy-centric phone, and the company behind it is a really good privacy-centric company. I just can't do it. Oh, one last thing. So one of the co-founders of the Up phone is the guy that wrote the Pegasus software. And on the surface, you're like, whoa, that dude really knows phone security, because that guy helped. I don't know, I'm not sure the whole background if he did it by himself or there's other groups, but the fact that he was a part of it in any way, shape, or form of this Pegasus hack, that's huge. That means this dude absolutely knows phone security. The problem is that the Pegasus software was sold exclusively to governments to spy on people in other governments. That's the software that was used by MBS to get into Jeff Bezos' phone to blackmail him to try to invest in whatever the hell he was doing up in Saudi Arabia. And we said no, he leaked all his personal information online, and then Jeff Bezos wanted to get in divorce because all that crap, right? So that software was behind all of that and a bunch of other crazy espionage stuff. So is he good now, or are they selling this data to third-party countries? Like, I don't know. Did they make the ultimate backdoor and they're selling this as a privacy phone, or realistically they're streaming this data back to themselves and selling it to other governments? I have no idea. And that to me is concerning, because in the beginning, like, wow, they have super smart people that absolutely know phone security, who have a track record of stealing and corporate government espionage into high valued targets to steal their data and sell it to other governments. I'm not really sure where I sit on that phone. I'm not on the fence on that one. So just want to give you that little bit of background information before you make your decision. So Up phone, really cool. Version 2, looking forward to it. Version 1, no thanks. Later. Hey everybody, so I want to give a couple quick updates on the Up phone, because after I finished that second recording on everything, I played with it a little bit more, and I gave it to a buddy of mine that's a big Android guy and said, hey, show me around. So a couple quick things. First off, I wound up just straight up returning the phone, because it's not a year that you get those services for free, but it was like a month. So when I was actually out in Vegas for Identiverse, I got a thing saying, hey, by the way, you only have a couple more days, sign up here to subscribe. And I'm like, whoa. I was planning on keeping the phone to play with it for the year and hang on to it just as an Android phone to play with. But when I found out that I needed to actually start paying a monthly fee to use the phone, that was it. That was when I was like, nope, send it back. So I returned the phone in the case, so I don't have it anymore. I wasn't gonna start paying a monthly fee for it. There's just no way I could do that. A couple other things in here. So my buddy with the Android guy, he went through into the developer settings and the advanced stuff where you do all the tapping to do the things. And he was able to change the animation speed and made it way faster. That made the actual interaction with the phone way better and way more natural. So it's supposedly that's something on most Android phones that just comes out of default. So that was a huge thing in settings. It doesn't fix the lag problem that you were seeing, but definitely a lot of the frustration of just how slow the phone was to me overall, it fixed that. So there is a solution for that. So that was something I wanted to point out. As for Google apps, I mentioned a lot about how Google's blocked everywhere, but I could sign into the email with Google. One thing to take note is all those other apps that you installed, if you sign into those apps using Google, that won't work. So all those sign in with Google buttons, they're all blocked. So you can't access any of the Google servers. So if the only way you access or log into any of those apps is using your Google account, you're gonna have to change it, because all that is blocked from the phone natively. The other thing is the battery. So I mentioned how the battery died in a day. It absolutely did. I charged it, it died. My guess is it has something to do with maybe the radio just trying to seek out a signal or doing something, because there was no background transactions happening. There's nothing on that phone to sync. But I did charge it again and tried again to see if I could replicate it, and it wound up lasting 4 days. so like a normal phone battery would. So there was something happening within that 24-hour span where the phone just, I don't know, glitched and went into a loop, or I have no idea what happened, but the phone bricked itself, killed the battery in less than 24 hours. But later on, when I recharged it and let it just sit there on my desk and not moving around in a regular area, it was fine. It lasted on for days. When I pulled that screen protector off and just started using the phone without it, the capacitive touch, way better. Still issues with buttons not responding, I think, but those are probably app specific. But that screen protector is garbage. It makes it so that you lose power in the middle of a podcast. Thankfully, we're recording on a battery, and hopefully you can still see me. That's really all I wanted to update with. So I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to go figure out why I just lost power. See you guys around. Bye.